And honestly, I think that's one of the things I love most about Bloom Growth operating. Why do I think people struggle with EOS? That's a fair question. Look, I hear from people, a lot of people, and they all kind of have probably a few things in common. So, like one that I hear a lot, they'll say things like, well, we tried it, but it didn't stick. And usually when I hear that, I don't really know what it means until I start poking around a little bit to really kind of like understand. But like most of the time when someone says that, it's sometimes a statement like it feels too rigid, like it just feels too constrained. And this is really true if it's a founder or a visionary or the org is like a creative org, because the meetings and those things for those people, they feel like too predictable, like they feel too boring, and there's not really room anymore for like, let's keep it entertaining. So the scorecards can feel mechanical and methodical, and sometimes those people feel like that the nuances of the business get kind of squeezed out. Sometimes the accountability chart creates issues for people because they might be used to evaluating people based on like, hey, do I like hanging out with them? Are they a good guy? But now they're having to think about like, are they who the company needs for where we're going? And that can be hard for a lot of people to start thinking that way. Sometimes the visionary just feels boxed in because like they're bouncing around all over the place, doing whatever they want, wherever they want. And the people on the team just get used to it. They kind of explain it away, but now they're being stuck in a little box, right? Or maybe the integrator didn't actually have teeth. So they're just kind of like wriggling kittens and complaining about all the stuff that they can't actually solve. But honestly, you know what's interesting is EOS is designed to remove the improvisation. Like literally, it's trying to take all that wasted effort, all that wasted energy, and it's taking it out of the business practices. So if a company feels like it's just running on, personality and charisma and heroics, it can sometimes feel like a loss. It's going to feel too structured because there's no room for leaning on the special people who you always depend on to swoop in and save the day. It's not wrong that people do that necessarily. It can be fine. It's a big waste of time and money and energy, but it's fine. Another thing here, it's half committing. It's just like dipping their toe in, like they read the book Traction, they decide to self-implement, and they go like, hey, let's do a couple months of these L10s. And they set rocks, and they kind of struggle to realize it takes a lot of work to actually get that flywheel spinning. And when it doesn't spin quickly, look, let's just call it. It's because they really didn't commit to actually getting that flywheel to spin. So then they'll say things like, well, we tried it, it's not for us. But what I found is that's kind of the thing with EOS. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's just discipline. Like literally, that's all it is. It's a framework that forces execution. And when you force that discipline, it tends to expose things. So it's kind of like if you get serious about fitness and you decide to get a gym membership, right? Because once you start counting calories, you start to see just how bad your diet has been. But without that, you don't really know. You're just kind of like guessing it, right? You have no reason to know. And with the EOS, it's the same thing. It kind of exposes that the leadership team doesn't actually trust each other. It exposes that no one really understands how to read a P&L. It exposes that the visionary, exposes that the visionary struggles to like let go and trust other people to do things. It can expose that the integrator isn't actually a good integrator. And sometimes when those things surface, there's no shortage of blame to go around, right? And EOS gets a lot of blame. Now I do think some of the criticism is perfectly valid. Like EOS is intentionally simple, but maybe sometimes awkwardly so. But that's the thing. Business isn't always simple, but everyone's instinct is to try to make simple things complicated. And 99 times out of 100, simple things work better. But when you really do need something complex, like if you're running in a more complex organization, or you need a deeper financial literacy, or if you care about team dynamics beyond like right people, right seat, and if you actually want a high performing team that will move mountains, like EOS doesn't really touch on stuff like that, at least not directly. So you have to be willing to, paint outside the lines a bit. And EOS official, they just don't love painting outside the lines. And to be clear, look, and I'm not trying to be antagonistic here, but EOS is famously locked in like a 2005 model. Fun fact, I graduated my undergrad in 2005. And I can tell you things have changed since 2005, but EOS hasn't. It's kind of the same thing it's been since then. So like when someone tells me they struggled with the EOS, like I usually assume it's kind of one of those three things. Either they weren't ready for what it revealed, because that could be really uncomfortable if you're not ready. They didn't really plan to commit fully, it's kind of dip their toe in, or they've kind of outgrown the framework that exists circa 2005. And those are very different problems. They have very different solutions.